So let me, share this PPT. So just I'll explain and then we will go to SAP. So let me know if you are able to see my screen. So let's start. So if you look at our standard payment approval process. So normally what happens, like here, if you look at the normal standard way of payment approval, then we do the payment. Then we upload the payment file in bank portal, and someone from your organization, whosoever has the payment approval authority, he log into the bank portal and he approves the payment. This is the normal process. Sometimes it happens like there will be a multiple approval wherein one level of approval is done by the company authorities and second level of approval is done by the bank. So that's the two level of approval you will find. And then once payment is approved, and then it is get transferred to the supplier. So this is the standard way of payment approval. Then if you talk about second process, then you may use F110. And here, one part of approval is done through the review of payment. And then you execute the payment so that whatever payment which has been reviewed, that is gets paid, and system generate the accounting entry in F110, and then you transfer file to the bank. And after that, like you can send the communication to the supplier through the email. So this is the second way of payment approval. And I believe like you both have worked on F110, so you must be aware about this, right? Then another way of payment approval process, like here in the F110, you can create an interface between your SAP to bank, that you can say host to host, API, whatever way, but like file gets transferred automatically. So this is the way you can do this transfer. Now, what happens, like here, you need to first understand like business need. Actually, any development, any automation comes through some requirement, some need of the business. Like in all this process, what is happening? If you look at the overall challenge in this process, so you can see here, if we talk about the BCM here, so what is happening? Like here, you do the F110. So as I mentioned, like when you do this F110, you do one level of approval, right? So you do one level of approval here. And you transfer the file to the bank. So here, payment. Okay, so here you transfer the file to the bank. Now, if approval is happening in the bank, so after that, payment approval in bank. So here, you do the payment approval. So what is the problem here? Problem is, suppose if I have to make multiple time of payments and you have different level of approvals. Okay. So suppose if you have to do different level of approval, so based on the amount, based on the department, here everyone has to log in the bank portal and do the approval. And this is not so easy. Like if I'm traveling, if I'm doing some other work, then you have to, like spare the time and log into the bank and do this approval. So this is always a burden for the employees, because here Actually, if you don't approve, like the payment will not get released. That's why, like to avoid all this approval process, you know, if SAP BCM solution has been launched here. So what is happening here? Like here, if this payment approval I will do here, and then I will transfer the file to the bank. So benefit is here for the purpose of approval, like we can initiate this process well in advance. And since here you can use your internal notification, mail approval, so like you have different mechanism, different way, like everybody can do the approval in your portal in the SAP, right? So now here approval is easy, like it is kind of time saving. Second is like here the all the approval, whatever and matrix you have for the approval, it is easy to implement. It is easy to implement, right? So this is the requirement here. And if like you have a very large volume of payment, so see here, if you implement BCM, you have a license cost. That's why, like if you do the payment approval in the bank also charge per payment some money. So they will charge you something for the service charges. And here, if you do the approval in the SAP itself, in the bank portal, no need to do approval. When the file will be transferred to the bank, it will be automatically transferred to the vendor. So now when you decide like you are going to take the license of BCM, actually you need to compare like the cost benefit, like using BCM will be helpful, not helpful. So like that you can take a decision. Okay. So this is the purpose here. Now coming to the here BCM. So as I mentioned, like you can see here, first you can review the payment, you execute F110 and then approve in the BCM, and that payment file will be transferred to the bank and automatically it will be confirmed, right? There will be no further approval in the bank portal. So this is the business benefit of using BCM. Okay. Then further, see, normally in the bank communication management, you have option like you can get the inbound information as well. So once the payment will be done, so you can see here like bank can send you the payment confirmation. Second, bank also can send you the bank reconciliation statement. BRS statement also can be sent in the same channel. And in the BCM, you can have that kind of dashboard wherein you can actually monitor the progress of your bank reconciliation. So that is also the benefit here. Now, for the purpose of confirmation, like when we talk about like how I'm going to communicate to the bank. So here it is you can see here like we have a middleware. It means like you can communicate to the bank through PIPO. Okay, this is the one option. Second option could be you can use the Swift network. Okay. Then third option, you can transfer after the BCM confirmation of the payment, you can transfer this payment file to bank manual as well. So this is the way like you can connect with the bank. So as I mentioned, you can use PIPO, you can use SwiftNet, or you can manual transfer as well. So depends on like how you do like to communicate. You can do this communication with the bank. Okay. Then as part of the benefit, like what additional benefit you will get. So you can see here approval you can do using the workflow. Then when file will be transmitted, like when it will go to the bank, you can monitor the status. So you will be double sure like whether payment transfer has happened or not. and then you can also get the payment status. And as I mentioned, like you can get the bank statement as well. So this is the overall process steps of the BCM. So you can see here, like the process, like here. So when the payment will be done, F110, second step is come as a payment batching. So what is the payment batching? So here you need to understand. So now always for the payment approval, whether you do through the F110 or you use the BCM. So like here, I'm saying manual without BCM, and here I'll say BCM. So if you use BCM or if you don't use BCM, in all the cases, what happens, like always there will be a payment approval matrix. In your organization, there will be a payment approval matrix. So what will happen? You will say like minimum payment you will make as a suppose 100. And you can say like here range. So 100 to range. So suppose if you say 100 to 10,000, you may say like there will be a 2 level of approval. Okay. And if it is beyond 10,001, so you can say up to 1 million, you can say there will be different 2 level approval, but authority will be different. And beyond this, you can say like suppose 3 level of approval. So now here, if you say this is the range you follow for the payment approval, it means like whatever payment you have generated, you have to do the batch. Means the system will do the batching based on the like level of approval. So you can say like here all the payments. So suppose here if you have suppose 1,000 number of payment you have processed, then what will happen? System will create batch 1 which will go for this approval. It will create batch 2 which will go for this approval, and batch 3 it will go for this approval. So that's why here it is saying like once you will process the payment, there will be a payment batching and then it will get approved. And once like it will get approved, like the file will be processed. Okay. And then overall the final file will go to the bank. Now here the process can be automated through middleware. So here you can use the PIPO for the purpose of bank file transfer, or you can use the SwiftNet or manual transfer, whatever. Okay, so like here, this is the process you have here. Second, in the same communication channel, you can get the acknowledgement, you can monitor the bank statement. So all those process, so between your SAP and bank, all the communication for the payment will be real time. Okay. So overall, if we talk about the benefits, so you can see like here manual effort get reduced because like all the process is get automated. It will reduce your cycle time because you are not doing the payment approval multiple level, and you use the common interface to communicate between SAP and bank. And always there will be a batch so that like system will do all the steps. So that's why like here the manual effort will be reduced. And here like overall status purpose, like you have this single point of reporting. Okay, so this is the benefits you can see. These are the different screens are there. That's fine. Now we'll go to the SAP. So if this concept, theoretical concept is okay. Like we can start the SAP BCM related steps. Okay. So what happens, like to configure the BCM? So you have the now, suppose if you need to implement BCM, so you can say implementation of BCM. So steps will be, first of all, like you need to configure F110. So step number one, complete configuration of F110. So this is the first step you need to complete. Okay. And then here, once you have completed the F110 configuration, then second you can do the configuration of BCM. So this is the step you have to follow. Now we will log into SAP. So in the SPRO, you can see here, like for the standard bank configuration, these are the steps you perform here. Then for the automatic payment program, you have steps here, automatic payment program. And then for the BCM, you need to come down here, bank communication management. So 3 steps. So as a configuration, what we supposed to do, let us do the F110. Okay. So tell me, like Nathan, are you aware about F110 configuration?
This FPGP configurations, right?
FBZP, yes.
Yeah.
You are aware, right?
Yeah, yes, Hemant, I have been worked on that, yes.
Okay, so let us see what we'll do quickly. Let us check first FI12. Our company code is 1710. And here, I think I have checked this bank had a configuration of yes. So for the BCM configuration step, we will use this house bank. Okay. So bank setup. So here you can see, like my house bank is this, then GL account is this. So first step, your bank setup should be there. Then for the automatic payment program, FBZP, I'm directly going to FBZP. So here, let us check 1710. So this is the first all company code configuration. So this is fine. Payment method supplement, tolerance for payment, nothing is there. A special GL, that is fine. Hope this is fine, right? Here, minimum amount for incoming outgoing, that is 00 they have given, that is no problem. This is fine. So payment method in country. So because this company, if you see OBY 6 1710, so this is US. Okay, so here let us see like which payment method we are going to use. So let's see, like here we have so many different payment methods, like here bank transfer, SCS, PPD. Okay. So PT, all this payment method I can see, like this can be used for the our BCM. So they use the PMW. So this is fine. So for the time, like I'm saying, like payment method. Okay. So now automatic payment program. So payment method, actually you can say, so we have P. So let's focus on this two. Okay. And then payment method in company code. So 1710 P and T, it is there. So this is fine. So all the configurations are there. And then bank determination. So for 1710, let us see bank determination. So you can see like here US BK1 and US AC1. Okay. So US BK1, US BK1 and PNT it is there. Okay. Now we will go to the bank account setting. So for PNT, you can see that all the configuration. So for the account ID USA C1 here sub GL account is also mentioned. Okay. So for the bank determination, just I'm updating very basic thing. Bank determination here. This is the GL account. So this is the setting also available here. And then so this is the 1 day payment they have mentioned. That is fine. So I think F110 payment is available. Okay, now just quickly check this. What we will do, we will create one BP or let me check if I have some FBL1N. So already we have supplier. So let me check this. BP. This is not a BP. BP number. This is the business partner. This is fine.
If we do a proposal run by giving the vendor number as star, it will take everything, I think, no? And from that, I think we can take any of the valid BP.
Just I'm checking this payment transaction. So all those payment methods we have here. Okay. So let's try to post some document here. Let us run F110. So I'm giving this and supplier I will use only one. Just I'm checking the variant. PP. Let us see if something is there in the proposal. Okay. So we got so many line items here. Okay. So if I run the payment, completed. So go to payment, display, and you can see the APP is working fine. Okay. Now we are okay to start the BCM configuration. So now we will go to the BCM. So, like first step, you need to check whether your F110 is working fine or not. Then only you can go for the next step to do the BCM configuration.
Hey, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training? That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features? Bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
So now let us go to the SPRO. So in the BCM configuration, it is very logical. Okay. So if you look at the configuration, so you can see here, we have basic setting, payment grouping, payment status management, payment bank statement monitor, and release strategy. So basic setting, you can see here you have the basic setting for the approvals. Okay. So now, so you can see here, whether you need this, signatory, like digital signature is required, not required, that you can set up here. And this is the standard setting, like currency is your USD, exchange rate AM, and day submission, resubmission, like within 3 days, this can be resubmitted. So this is the basic setting here. And here, this is the not so relevant. This is also not relevant. Okay. Now coming to the payment grouping. So this is the step 1 or 2 step you need to configure here. So once the payment will be released from F110, how you are going to group your payment. So here you can do the grouping of the payment. So you can see here, this is the rule ID, and here this is the priority. So we'll do that and go to the details. So if you go here, have you done this BCM configuration? One T code I'm not able to
create which
one grouping.
grouping. Is it OBPM 5 you mean?
T code I'm not able to recall because just a minute.
Can you check once OBPM 5?
OBPM.
Yeah, OBPM 5. Is that not the grouping one? So we will do the grouping here. I mean, if the identification starts with A or B, that will run the BCM, that will trigger the BCM, or else it is normal payment run, something like that.
No, I'm not able to.
Display.
Yes, this one.
And here we will add the users, right?
I think better I will take this session next week. Just I'll keep theoretical because that is not coming in my mind, that amount based, because I wanted to show you like here, like once we have done this F110, then how we do this batching, okay, and then how system will generate that. So that I think I will take in the coming week. So theoretical will complete it, and we will complete this BCM setup next week with this example, so that you will understand all the steps.
The FBPM one, the setups, right, for batching it.
Which code?
FBPM one.
FBPM one. So like, yes, we will run this, but like here the config,
Okay.
we create batch, right? Then we run this so that system create the batch, right?
Yes.
Yes. So yes. So that's why, like, when we run this transaction, before that we do the configuration, like how system will create the batch. So
batches,
I will take this next week, because here all the steps, like whatever we have given, 3-4 steps only we perform for the end-to-end transaction. Okay. So like next, what we can do for the in-house case, we can do the theoretical discussion. Yeah. So for the BCM, we will continue the practical session next. And now we will discuss the in-house case concept. So in-house case,
like as in cash management, right?
No, in-house case.
Yeah, I haven't worked on it, but
I have just gone through it, but not end to end. No, Hemant.
Okay. So let me, start the theoretical part of the in-house case, so that, theoretically I'll explain, and what are the steps you need to perform, that I will explain. Okay. So for the in-house case, what happens? In-house case. Okay. Let me check that ZaranTech one PPT I have. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
So in-house case, first let us understand the, business requirement of in-house case. Okay. So take an example of any global organization. So where the company has a head office in any of the geographical location, and they have a subsidiary across all the country. So in this case, you can see like the head office they have in Europe, whereas they have a subsidiary in all over the world. So in USA they have multiple subsidiaries, and Asia they have multiple subsidiaries. So for the in-house case, first of all, like you should have presence in multiple countries, but head office centralization should happen in the one location. And you will find very few company where all the financial decision happens from the head office. So that's the first basic requirement you have to have here. Okay, global operation and centralization of your finance process. So in this case, what happens? Like if you look at this scenario, then USA, here you have multiple subsidiary. It means like you will maintain your bank at all these locations. In Asia, like you have different subsidiary. It means you are maintaining your bank in all these locations. So you can see here, like everywhere they have a separate bank. And what is happening here? So when you have a country, a specific legal entity, a specific different bank, then it is very difficult to manage the relationship with the bank. Reason is like suppose if you talk about USA, so may possible like you have account with Bank of America or Citibank. When I talk about the Asia, then you will have the relationship with the different bank. So like when you do the banking transaction, either you take an loans or you do some investment or you do all these payments, so you will not get the correct deal because you will not have a volume. But like suppose here, if you want to centralize this and you want to go for one bank, like globally, you will say like, yes, I'm going with the, one bank, and that bank should have the presence in all the country, because when you will release the payment, you should be able to, release release through your bank, but the payment can be done anywhere in the world. That is the basic ask. Okay. So this is the scenario here where, country specific different banks are there. Now, in this case, what happens? Like in-house case, what happens? Like here only I will say, like all these different subsidiary, instead of doing bank at the local location, they can say like they want to centralize the bank. In this case, what will happen? Like instead of creating a banking relationship in every country, every location, you will have a centralized bank. And now for all this subsidiary, like the central head office will play a role of the corporate bank. Okay, so this is the scenario where you can see like here you have different subsidiary, and here the head office play a role of in-house cash center. It means all the payment and receipt will happen at head office. None of the subsidiary will be allowed to release the payment or receive the payment. So all the payment will be made by head office, and all the receipt will be done by head office only. And between head office and subsidiary, all the payment related transaction will be routed. So what I have said, just in the Excel, I will explain this concept. So you can see like in the normal scenario, okay, normal scenario, you have suppose USA, then you take UK, and you take in India. So now you will have house bank. So here you can have a separate bank. Here you can have a separate bank. Here we have this separate bank. Now the challenge is like here you are dealing all the banking transaction with this bank. UK you are dealing with this bank. India you are dealing with this bank. The relationship maintenance, getting the right, what I can say, contractual rate from the bank will be challenged. And also you have to have the person in all the locations to manage your bank. So what can be done here? All these countries can decide like which is my head office. So suppose if I say head office is my USA. So here USA can play as a in-house cash. Okay. So now all the payment. So suppose India has to do the supplier payment. Then what will happen? Like here, the request, the request will go from here to here. So when I want to make a payment, when we want to make a payment, the request is flow from India to USA. And likewise from UK to USA. So all these requests will flow to head office, and from here the payment will be released. It means like when this India will really send the request, what will happen? Like it will say supplier or vendor account, they will say debit, and instead of credit the bank account, they would say in-house cash HO account, they will say credit. And this request will come to head office. And here in the head office, they would say ISC payment. So here ISC, or suppose India company code. So India, they will say debit and payment request, ISC payment request. So they will credit this account. So what happens? Like when you will generate the F110, so this is the transaction, it will come from F110. And here automatically system will create a IDOC, and this posting will go and see it as a payment request. So now for the purpose of payment release, you need to run this F111 transaction code. When you will execute F111 transaction code, what system will do? System will debit this transaction and credit the bank. So you can see here. So subsidiary will send a request, instead of bank account, they will credit the in-house cash. And when head office will receive the request, they will say from India, this much of request has come. They will debit and credit the ISC. And here ISC to bank account. So this is the accounting flow will happen. Okay. So this is the overall solution. What is the ISC provides. So you can see here. So here the overall organization, it says like individual trading entity, the subsidiary with its own system. So all the companies should have the SAP system they should be in SAP, and subsidiary hold one or more current account, all these things. Okay, that's not relevant. You can see like head office manage the current account for the corporate group subsidiary within the ISC center. So here, as I mentioned here, so they will manage all these account. Head office will have the account for all the subsidiaries. Okay. And then financial department within the head office manage the ISC center general ledger account. So you can see here, like whenever they will make a payment, the payment will flow through this account. So through this account, they will monitor all the transaction movement. Okay. And in-house cash, it will be a separate organization unit. So what happens, like if you go to the SAP system and if you go to the FBZP, so you can see like all company code. So here you will have all these different subsidiary company code. For all these subsidiary company code, you can have here paying company code. So paying company code will be 1. So now you can understand like why in F110 FBZP configuration, you have paying company code. So sending company code, these are the sending company. Okay. These are the sending company code. But here USA is playing the role of paying company code. So for all these company codes, the paying company code will be the USA. Okay. So this is the setting that is used for paying and sending company code. So you can see here like ISC's center manages the subsidiaries. ISC current account as a head office subledger. So here the head office will manage all this, company code wise ledger. So this is the kind of the way in-house CADs works. So that's the details here it has given. So normally like here, this is important thing like you need to understand. So what happens like here, the process, like if doing all these transactions from head office, it means like head office providing the services to the subsidiaries. And most important, what happens like the fund transfer between the subsidiary to head office, it happens on the periodic basis. So for example, like like India, you take an example, if USA is making payment on behalf of India, because like you can see here, like bank account is with USA. It means like suppose if there is no collection on the India, it means like all the payments funds are managed by the USA. In that case, there will be a charges, okay, or interest. So like all this process where all the process like the interest charges that will be get posted uh, in-house center, ISC center, and all these charges, they allocate different subsidiaries, because what happens like head office is providing you all these services. It means they will charge you something as a service charge. Okay. So accounting I have explained. Then one very important concept about the netting. So what happens? These are the additional functionalities are available in in-house case, but normally this solution is implemented by very few companies, considering like the complexity. So what happens like, but the functionalities are there. So you can see what happens like there will be a transaction between India and UK. There will be a transaction between UK and USA or India and USA. So always there will be a transaction between within this group, okay, and also they will have direct transaction with your in-house cash. So here, this is the example you can see here. Like in this scenario, subsidiary 1, subsidiary 2, and subsidiary 3, wherein like this 50 is receivable from subsidiary 2, and it is saying like it is payable to subsidiary 1. Likewise, the 20 is payable by subsidiary 1 to subsidiary 3. And between subsidiary 2 and subsidiary 3, there is a payable and receivable for the 100. Now, if you look at the overall intercompany balance, so it is saying like in this subsidiary, there is a receivable of 30. In this subsidiary 2, this is a receivable of 50, and here it is a payable of 80. So now when it balance will go to in-house center, so they can run this netting. So all the fund transfer may possible like at the head office level, they will run this netting. So what will happen? All this payable receivables between the subsidiary, they will net it off, and the balance, which is the net balance is there, that in-house case will manage that. So over the flow, you can see here, this is about the payment. So what happens, like if you look at the overall flow, so the flow is here, the subsidiary sends the payment request to the head office. Then head of office will make a payment to the bank. Then the the same route, bank will send a bank statement. This bank statement will have the information about all the payment and receipt which has been done on behalf of all the subsidiary, and this in-house center will send all this bank statement to the subsidiary. So what happens, the way like I have explained about the payment, when the bank statement will come, it will be a reverse. So all this open item, because like when you do, what I can say, these are the open items I have in my subsidiary, so it has to be cleared. So it is cleared through the bank statement. So that's why it is saying, like all the collections, all the payments, wherever you have to do the reconciliation, that bank reconciliation, the flow first come into the head office and it get transferred to the your subsidiary bank, subsidiary accounts. Okay. Then currency conversion, that is fine. So that I have explained. So how this reconciliation happens. So incoming payment flow. So what happens, like here you have operations in the different countries. So in this example, you can see like head office we have in the USA, but the operations are happening in UK and India. If suppose I have a bank as a house bank, I have taken globally as a city bank. It means like first you have to see the city banks would have branch in all these countries. If they don't have branch, then it will be very difficult to manage this, in-house case. So what will happen? You have, customers in all these countries. So you will have customer in India, UK. They will do the payment in UK and they will make a payment in India. Now you can see here, like in the overall incoming payment process, what happens? Like the payment happens in the partner bank. Okay, so all your business partner customers will make the payment to the local partner bank, and this bank will transfer the fund to the head office, means they will transfer to USA, and USA will transfer the bank statement to the head office, ISC center, and ISC center will send this communication back to the subsidiary. So this is the flow of the incoming payment will happen, and all this flow happens through the MT940.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Okay. And for the, this is done. So not required. Now, next concept is how to manage the local payments. So local payment means here I would explain. See, for the supplier and customers, you can use the Citibank. Okay, but may possible for the local payment. Local payment means suppose you have to make a tax payment. So for the tax payment, government would say, but for India, Citibank will not work. Like you are doing the payment through from USA to India, it will not work. So payment has to be done locally in this particular bank, they would save. So for that purpose, some of the local payment purpose, you can create you can have the setup of local bank as well. Through that, you can do the payments. Okay. So likewise, here it is saying the local payment, for the local payment, you can route it through your in-house cash. Okay, in-house cash, or if you want, like you can directly route it through the subsidiary. So you can see here, like the subsidiary BUK, they are making payment to the local house bank, subsidiary partner bank. So that you can decide. So if you look at the overall benefit of using in-house cash, is first of all, like it will reduce the physical cash transfer, it will reduce the number of bank account, it will reduce the administration overhead expenses, it will reduce the minimize the netting process time. So all these things, and also it will save the bank fees, because like you are maintaining the like centralized bank, so bank charges, but that benefit you will get when you will do the bulk deal. And then also here, if you have one house bank, then all this cost related to cross border payment, that you can avoid. And here you will get the more benefit on the interest, because all the money, if you keep in one bank, then you can have option to earn more. And then reduce the hedging deal. So what is happen, like here, hedging means you can minimize the loss, or you can minimize the any kind of cost here, because if you have the visibility of fund at the central level, then you would be able to manage your risk very well. So this is the benefit of in-house cash. Okay, so if you look at the overall SAP, so first let me know, like in-house cash concept, is it clear now, or any question here?
I'm clear, Hemant.
Nathan? Nathan, what about
Hemant?
you?
Yeah, it's
Yeah?
okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now for the in-house cash, you can see, like in the FSCM, we have in-house cache, and here these are the configuration steps has been given, and it is very complex. Like I'm telling you, this is very complex configuration steps are there, wherein so many different scenarios are applicable. So what kind of scenario you are going to use, based on that, all this configuration has to be done. Because in in-house case, one is like you can automate your outgoing incoming payment. At the same time, if you want to do the netting of the fund, if you want to centralize the fund, so all those process is available in SAP. But even I have not also done all these, scenarios, but for one of the project, we have done the in-house cash basic incoming and outgoing process. Okay. So that, I will walk you through what we have done. So from the configuration side, these are the various steps has been given. And if you go to from the user perspective, so basically here, so many different kind of transactions are happening here. So I'm showing you like what we had done. Let me walk you through the basic document, then you will understand. Let me share my screen, because for the theoretical understanding also I had created document. So this is the document I need to walk you through. So this we have discussed. So these are the key information. I will just from the user perspective, I will walk you through what are the important information is required. So you can see here, like in the customer and vendor master, we need to have this complete information about the address, bank account data, and payment method. And most important, international bank ID number, because here all the payment happens through the international channel. So IBAN number is important here. And then for the F110 means bank master data. And here, like the payment transaction is happening through the ISC, so that information about the SWIFT code bank details should be mandatory, because the payment will be transferred internationally. Okay, so all this information is important if you want to configure the ISC. So here you can see like these are the information in the master data. In the payment details of the bank, you can see IBAN number is important, so that international payment can be made. Okay. Then payment method, the ISC payment method, all this information has to be there. So you can see like different payment methods, standard like ISC, IBAN, all this payment method here we have to maintain here in the vendor master. Then from the user perspective, here we need to run the F110. So all these subsidiaries will run F110 transaction code for release the supplier payment. So now here you can see like one of the company code 50, it is running F110. Okay. So now in the F110 payment, when payment will be run, system will generate the IDOC. So you can see like in the payment printout, it is saying ISC payment means system, this program you can see, it will create the payment file IDOC to ISC automatically after the payment run is completed. So because here we are not going to transfer payment to the external bank, that's why here system will generate the IDOC for the ISC bank. Okay. Then you can see like when the payment will be run, the payment medium, we need to run this DME administration. Here, the once payment will be run, like it will generate the IDOC. Okay. And accounting entry you can see here, like in the when I will run the F110, system will generate vendor account debit and ISC receivable payable clearing account. This is the credit. Okay. And here, once we will release this DME, it will come to as a IDOC. And here the IDOC steps will be, IDOC will be generated and it will go to the in-house cache. So you can see here like different steps, like so these are the some technical things are there. It is a IDOC monitoring WE02. So here system will generate the IDOC, and here payment text, partner ISC, all this information you can see here. Then coming to the ISC master data administration, here the bank master. So in the ISC, the ISC company code, there also we have to have all this, bank master, business partner, that current account, all these details has to be maintained. Then the important is in the ISC, the IDOC subsidiary will send the IDOC file, and in ISC it will receive the IDOC document, and then there will be a process of IDOC monitoring in the ISC company code. And once the IDOC will be processed in our receiving company code at the ISC company code, the transaction code F111 outgoing payment run processing will be run. So you can see automatic creation of payment file as an IDOC, which is automatically transported to Opus Capita. This is the channel, and this payment file is sent to the external bank. So once you will execute F111, the file will be generated for the external bank. Day close. So every day, like you need to close the ISC bank statement, you have to generate, that will send back to the subsidiary for their bank clearing. And then monthly you have to run the interest charges, and you can import the external bank account at the your bank statements. Then the overall, when the bank statement gets updated in ISC account statement, it will send the file, that statement, back to the subsidiary, and it is saying like in the FEBA that your bank account statement, that the bank reconciliation transaction code FEBA, where we do the reprocessing of the bank statement. So where in the FEBA transaction, all these statement will be visible. So here all the bank wise, all the statement which will come from ISC to the subsidiary, it will be visible, and from here you need to execute so that your customers or open item will get cleared. This is the once again like accounting which generate through ISC, already I have explained. F111 payment request, where when you execute this transaction, so ISC payment request to bank account, that is the accounting get generated. That already I have explained here. So this is the accounting it is talking about. So ISC India to payment request and payment request to bank account. So this is the accounting. That's all. So this is from the user perspective. So I will share both the document with the support team. So they will upload in the LMS. Okay. So this is about the ISC. So in the ISC, any question?
Not yet.
Okay. So theoretically, you can keep this in your mind, like what is ISC, but detailed, like I believe like this is more than Treasury, because doing the configuration of end-to-end ISC is not very simple. But now I will walk you through the basic steps. So I have another document where I have noted down all the basic steps for the configuration of ISC. Very quickly, I will walk you through so that all the document I will share, if you have to do configuration somewhere, you can use these documents. Okay. So at least you will have all the details, how you can do the config. Let me share my screen. So these are the basic steps. So this is the configuration document I have for the ISC. And believe me, like if you do this basic steps, you would be able to, somehow run this ISC if you want to do practice. But, my suggestion would be first you should focus on the Treasury and BCM. Then you can go for ISC if you want to learn this. So here on the basic setting, what are the steps you need to do? Here we have all these steps. From the master data, what you need to do. Then we have account management steps. And then we have periodic tasks, like what are the steps need to be followed. And then we have authorization and then archival detail. Now, if you go through this document, then in the basic setting, so here you can see in the basic setting, you have to create the bank area. So, here, this is the ISC, means you have to create basically in-house cash bank area. So here, which company code is going to work as a in-house cash, you have to define here. So in this case, like you can see here, like ZISC, and here this is the company code which will work as a ISC. So this is the bank area, has to be defined. And then activate bank area. So ISC is activated. For this company code, it has been activated. So likewise, you have different steps here. Different steps, you can go through it. But like what you can do, I'll tell you like how you should, if you want to go through this configuration step, then ideally, if you go to this document, okay. So you can see like we have ISC. So first you can see bank area, define bank area. Now here you have 3-4 steps, but you just focus on this, what it is there in the bank in this document. Because in ISC, you will have so many steps that is not relevant to do the incoming and outgoing basic process. So when the bank area, you can see like this is the configuration, it is there. And only, in SAP standard, it is available for 0001 company code. Okay. So that has been given. Then next, if you see the maintain number range, external account number. So you go to that maintain external number range, external account number. So you go to this step only. And for the 001, you go and check what is the config is that. For your company code, you have to do this config. Likewise, you can just go and check which are the standard and mandatory steps you have to complete. Then we have master data. So in the master data, so other steps are not required here. So you can see, like in the basic setting, only we have to perform the 3-4 steps. Coming to the master data. So master data, it is starting with the condition. Okay, in condition, like you have define basic setting condition. So define basic setting for condition. It is saying like here, no need to do any setting. So you can see SAP standard, no changes made. Likewise, you have to go one by one step. And unless you get the project, you won't be able to, do this configuration and justify your knowledge, because it is not doable. And you won't be able to test any scenarios as well, because it is very difficult to test any of this scenario. But yes, like I will share this document so that you can go through it if you want. All these steps has been given, like where if no changes is required, it is mentioned like nothing to be done, and where some changes has to be done, like you have to do that configuration specific to your company code. Okay, so this document I will share. I will ask the support team to upload in the LMS. Okay, so I'm not going through all these detailed steps. So I mentioned, like for the configuration, this is the document. For the process side, this is the document, how it works. And then for the accounting flow, like which are the transaction codes you can minimum use. So this is there in this document. Okay. And anything else, just let me think. So, okay. If you want, like this is the standard, but this is not of the, what I can say, latest document, but this is the document also. I can share 9 MB. Okay. This is the standard SAP training document of in-house case. That also I will share with the support team so they can upload here. Okay. So this is done. Yes. So that's about the ISC.